Hey guys, James Mossholder here. Going to go through a deal I don't really talk too much about, but definitely want to bring it to everyone's attention. As you know, most of the deals that I talk about here are deals that are going to these, big hedge funds, what have you, big private equity funds that look for properties that are in pretty good shape, but can use, a slight lipstick update, right? 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, what have you. So I do sell a lot to those buyers. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have buyers that do something slightly different, or these private equity funds that will do something slightly different. And there's a few out there that buy in a few states, but they buy a lot and they're always buying. And so for an example today, I'm gonna show you how this private equity fund will buy properties, from people like myself. They look to fix and flip them, make them really nice, put a renter in it. Usually they'll sign this renter up for a year or 2 years, sometimes even 3 years, and they will take that as a package and sell it to an out-of-state investor. Or sometimes they will just keep it for their own portfolio as well. Obviously, they own a lot of properties like this. So we're going to go through one of these properties right now, how to evaluate this specific type of property, and how to, pretty much sell it. And as a cool little deal with the one that I'm going to show you, I actually sold this to the fund and they never even sent an inspector to the property, right? They went under contract, finalized the price. The only thing they will do is, the day before closing or actually on closing day, they will send someone by the property to make sure no one is living there, right? So I've told them that it will be vacant at closing. And so they just need to confirm that. Other than that, if you send them good pictures, good videos, what have you, they will actually buy the property sight unseen. And so I will share one that selling right at now as we speak. So I'm gonna go to Zillow, and we're gonna show you how to evaluate this type of property as well. So we're gonna go 139. And so this specific one is in Memphis, right? Now you can see the Zestman here is 43,000. When you're kind of dealing with these older neighborhoods, this was built in 1960, three bed. I do believe this one was actually one and a half bath, a little over 1,000 square feet. Um, these homes, it's very hard to get a sales estimate on these, right? So 31 to 60,000, that's a pretty big range. But something that I'd love to see is this rent estimate, 1261. And that does come into play when we're evaluating a property like this, right? When we're looking at a property like this, we really want the rental yield to be about 1.5, maybe 2%, right? So meaning if they are, say, $50,000 into the property, that's going to be the purchase price plus rehab, right? $50,000. They want to be able to rent this property, for anywhere from 750 to 1,000 a month, right? Now, when it comes to buying a house at this price bracket, the house might be cheaper, but at the end of the day, if you have to do work on the property, labor is labor. It's going to cost the same amount when it comes to paying someone per hour. Now, you're not going to use the best materials in a property like this, right? You're not going to use granite, quartz countertops. You're not going to put in the highest finishes. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to do something, right? You're going to have to paint it. You're going to have to put in new appliances here and there. You're going to have to put in new flooring. So it's still going to take money. It's still going to take time. And so when we are evaluating a property like this, we want to be all in around that 1.5 to 2% range. And again, that means, we're going to take the purchase price in the rehab, in this case, 50,000. And we want to make sure that we can rent it for 2% a month, right? So 2% a month on 50,000, that's going to be $1,000 a month, right? 10% is 500, 2% is 1,000. And so that's kind of how we evaluate these properties. And again, for this specific property, let's take it to the rental estimate because we do want to make sure that we are looking at good rental comps. So we're gonna look at the rental estimate here. See again, 1261. We're gonna zoom down in here. And so now we're seeing this one, 1.3, 1,300 a month, 1,150 a month, 3 bed, 1 bath, 700 square feet. So I'm pretty confident that our property here can rent in that 1,200 range. It's definitely a little bigger. You'll see that these ones that are renting for this amount, they have been updated, right? Painted on the outside, interior, right? Painted inside, new flooring, some new light fixtures. But you can tell, these homes are set up to be able to take a beating, right? So they don't have many ceiling fans. They don't have, valuable updates in these homes. They do need to be able to capture a certain amount of rent versus the purchase price here. And so again, for ours, we sent this one to our client. I believe this one is being sold at, let me look back at my system here. Okay, so my buyer is buying this one at 55,000. For us, we're picking it up at the 47 rate, 47K, selling it at 55. As you can tell, that's 8,000. Again, very easy sell here. The fund did not even have to go check out the property. They had all the information they needed from the video. It doesn't take a 200, 300, 400, $500,000 house to be able to wholesale it for 10,000. This is a $55,000 house in the 50 grand range, and we're making $8,000 on this house. Right. So, as long as what we're selling fits the bill for the fund, we can negotiate with the seller. A lot of these properties are owned by investors, right? It's very tough to get an investment loan on a house this cheap, or to get any type of loan on a house this cheap. Really, anything under $100,000 is hard to get a conventional loan. So these properties do trade hands with investors quite often. And also, the investors do put money in these houses, so they do keep them nice. People need these houses to rent, and so they do fly off the shelf. If this is a good deal, a fund will buy this, and there is a good group of people that will wholesale these type of homes. I do it; they work out great. Everyone wins on these, and they can actually be very good investments. So, if you deal with these in this price point, or if you would like to deal in this price point, definitely reach out to me. We can discuss how to find these properties, how to sell these properties to the funds that I sell them to. The link will be below. Click on that link. If this is something you want to learn, let's see if you are a good fit for this mentorship. We'll teach you this. We'll teach you everything else when it comes to selling to funds and hedge funds and private equity funds. But this can definitely be a good route for a lot of people. Again, hit the link, tap in, let's do some deals.